What if we had access to a wide variety of models? I mean, I have my Gemma 3 model that I really like, but it would be short-sighted not to compare this model against the other models on the market. What if we had a chat interface that we could have our local model on one side and then any other model on the other, and be able to compare the output for all of the chats that we do? And this would be an interface that would replace our normal chat interface. And then this would be something that would allow us to pit any model against each other. For instance, what's a good model for experiment ideation, or data analysis, or writing marketing content, or maybe extracting insights from user feedback, which is something that I was doing? Being able to compare different models means that we can make choices with confidence in terms of the models that we pick. And it may also allow us to pick local models to replace those expensive Goliath models. Not only that, but we get to ditch our expensive subscriptions, which locks us into a specific model vendor. And instead, we get to play around with all of the model vendors and pay little bits of sums of money for the API costs. And overall, this always comes out, my experience, to be cheaper than paying for a subscription. Does all this sound too good to be true? It's easy and it's not going to take you a lot of time to do. So let's get to it. My use case is this. I want to extract insights from messy user feedback text. I set up a server in Ollama. I exported it to 0.0.0, so it's available on the internal network. Let's hit Ollama serve. So my Ollama server is now running, and it's running at this address. This is the IP address that the Ollama server is running on. Now I want to introduce you to a tool called OpenWebUI. When you head on over to the OpenWebUI site, it's kind of intimidating, but think of it like an empty shell of a chat interface designed for you to plug in your own models to use. Installation is simple, but we can't just install it like a normal piece of software, which is why you don't see an easy download button as you do for other software. What we need to do instead is set up an environment for the application to run. That sounds like a lot of work. I mean, we're going to set up an entire environment with oceans and forests and trees, but we want to do this with as little work as possible. We're going to install a tool called Docker. And think of Docker like a platform that allows us to load ready-to-use environments. If you head on over to docker.com, you can just download it and install it like you would any other application. Now, I know I'm getting you to install a lot of stuff. We've got LM Studio for shopping for models. We've got Ollama for setting up a server for our local LLM. And now we've got Docker, which is going to allow us to install applications, lots of different types of applications. That's going to be useful for us in the long run. Once we install Docker, in the system tray, you'll see a whale icon. And if you go to dashboard, you'll get this screen. This isn't going to be a full in-depth tutorial of Docker. I'm just going to tell you the core things that you need to know in order to install OpenWebUI. The key things about Docker is that it deals with images. And think of an image as a snapshot of an operating system. And then, based on that operating system, you will create containers, which is an instance of that operating system, which is optimized and efficient in terms of the resources that it uses on your machine. And it's that container which is where our application is going to live. There's also volumes where you can give your application access to local folders, but we're not going to get into that in too much because we don't need to for this. So now, if we go back to search Open WebUI, we'll get a list of different options available to us. How to pick the right one? Well, I'm going to go by the number of downloads. The top ones have got 10K, and the number of stars. So FOSS Android has got a decent number of stars, and I'm just going to hit run. And that's going to take a while to download. So I'm just going to close that down. And if you go to images, you'll see that it's downloading. Now, if we head on over to our terminal, just want to make sure that our Ollama instance is serving. Our Ollama server is running, and we've got it running on this address. So, yep, perfect. Sweet. So now we've got our image downloaded, and all we're going to do is hit run. Before I hit run on this one, just want to open up the optional settings, and then I want to hit 8080 just so that I know which port I can access this to. And this is going to be part of our address. I want to give it a name as well. Open Web UI. And then hit run. And it's automatically shifted to containers. And now it's just doing its magic. It's just building the container. And once it's ready, it's going to be available on this link. Once it's ready, if we click on this link, it's going to take us to the Open Web UI instance. Whoa, that was easy, right? There's nothing really much to it. Who says Docker is complicated? Let's just go finish setting this thing up. Hit get started, and just put in your name, email address, and set a strong password. And create admin account. That's it. We're done. And as soon as you enter into it, if you're lucky, it will automatically have picked up your local LLMs. So let's say hello, and that is running completely local on my machine. Now, if for whatever reason you don't see your local models appear in that list, you can go in and add those in settings. And I believe it's this settings, and then admin settings, and then connections. And we've got a toggle for Ollama API. And we've got a URL here. This works for me, so I'm not going to update it, but you can change this. You can hit setting configure, and you can change this to your local address. While this is all well and good, I did promise you access to all of the models. So let me show you how to do that. You'll see there's an option here for OpenAI API, and this is very specific to OpenAI. But we're not going to add OpenAI. Instead, we're going to go to something called OpenRouter.ai. I've got an account already created, but you just go up and sign up for an account. And what OpenRouter does is it acts as a middle layer between you and all of the APIs and all of the model vendors. So you don't need to worry about API keys from all of the different model vendors. All you need to worry about is one API key, and it just gives you access to a wealth of models that are out there. And you can see what models are available here. You got the list of models, and if you click through to one, you can see the prices. And how it works is you buy credits, and you can set it to auto top up, and then that's it. It's going to just use those credits as and when you consume the API. Head on over to keys, and we want to create a new API key. Give it a name, Open Web UI Test 2, because I think I've got a number of these running now. And you can set specific credit, but I'm just going to leave that blank. And when you do create, it's going to give you your key. So copy that and paste it somewhere safe. Now head on back over to the admin panel, put the API key in there. So now the URL. You can't actually use this URL. You need to also change a URL to use OpenRouter. And to do that, close that, go over to Docs, and right at the top, this base URL, that's the thing you need to copy. So let's copy, head on over to the admin panel and paste it in there, hit save. Now when you go back to chat, you've got Google Gemini, you've got Qwen, you've got OpenAI, and NVIDIA. You've got all these models that you've probably never even heard of, DeepSeek, etc., etc. Isn't that crazy? With just a few simple steps, we've got access to a vast amount of models that we can then test and pit against each other. Now all that's left is for me to just test away. So let me copy this prompt that I used earlier in LM Studio and use that. And I don't want to do ChatGPT 5 Nano because I know it's rubbish and it takes too long. Yeah, there we go. And let's compare. See how quick Gemma is. One of the reasons why Gemma is so quick is because it doesn't have that latency of having to go across the world to hit a server. It's all available locally. The other advantage it has, and you'll see this when you pit other models against each other, is that some models like Gemini, like ChatGPT, are verbose. They come back with a lot of text, whereas Gemma is super succinct. And other small models like that are also succinct, like Qwen. Differences like that become clear when you see the models working side by side. And with just a few simple steps, we were able to get a chat interface going that allows us to do that. And I don't know about you, but this is now my go-to chat interface, WebUI. That's where I go to do everything. And maybe that's going to be the case for you. So let me know if that's the case. So hope you found this useful and hope you get to explore small models more. Come back because there's more to learn.